All right, Ethan, can you hear us? Oh, there he is.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Ethan.
Good to see you all.
Good to see you too.
All right.
So I'm going to call this meeting to order and announce that the meeting is being recorded. And I'll note a roll call that we have General Manager Jonathan Abu, Director Ethan Bertrand, Chairman of the Board Spencer, and myself, Carrie Topley. And before we actually begin, I'd like to acknowledge the Chumash people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who called this place Anascoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. And then I will see if there are any public comments to be made.
No public comment.
There's nobody here but us, huh? So we have two items on the agenda tonight. We're going to review the 2022 budget process timeline and also the draft 2022-2023 budget. So Jonathan, I'll let you start us off looking at that timeline.
Yeah, pretty much the last thing we need to get done is the investigator annual report, but there were other complications that delayed that were in the news. So we'll look at another time. Well, I have a new contact at UCPD to work with to get that done now.
Okay.
And other than we're set to approve our budget on Tuesday, and we'll be settled on our budget for this year.
Very good.
Yeah, at least this program, it needs an annual report, but it's not a budget impact this time. So we'll get it done when they can.
Any comments from anyone on the committee?
I'll just say I'm looking forward to that report. I know it's been a critical service, and it's unfortunate that there will be a service interruption this year, but we understand that's the reality. But hopefully we'll be able to see the good work that's occurred over this last year and make a strong case for resuming the service as soon as we can get the position filled.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move ahead then?
Sure thing.
All right, what do you have for us there, John?
All right, so let me share the budget. So there's like one big decision to do today on the budget. It's the main decision, but I just wanted to give you guys a couple updates that I've made, and then I'll tell you like where we're at, and then we'll make our decisions. So the revenue, we have the final revenue numbers. I think we talked about that last time. Our estimate at this point would be around 1.17 million, but with the goal of having the full picture of the money we can spend this year, I would recommend making the revenue number 1.7 plus this 17,000 right here. So I'll explain this a little bit. We accrue our revenue in June every year because we don't get the revenue for June until July 20th. So we have to guess the numbers. And this year, the guess, because of the switch from community choice energy and all that, our guess was wrong because the electricity number came in like $8,000 higher than the guess.
That's always good.
Yeah, and so we got, I call it July surplus from June accruals because that's what it is. It's actual money we have in our bank account because when we do an accrual, let's say it's 20,000 was the guess, it minuses out of the next year's budget, and then whatever the actual money comes in, it's a plus. And so our minus is smaller than the plus essentially, and it's by this 17,000 amount or 16,000 minus. So
how do we get from the 8 to the 16?
There's always a surplus, like there's always a mismatch because
okay, so that's the total
surplus
amount that we had in excess revenue last year to projections.
Exactly.
And so that just floats into this year's
exactly
budget.
Yeah. Yeah, it's let's see. Last year it was 13,000, and the year before that was 5,000. So it's been
Yeah,
the guess has been getting worse.
well,
but
that's very
it's-
close.
yeah.
That's a very good guess or estimate, I guess we should say.
Yes,
Because there's some,
Probably about the rate of inflation for energy.
It's actually what it is because we only use the last year's number. That's what the accrual is. It's whatever the actual was last year. So
Yeah.
we are using like the best possible number we can. It's just the growth is growing.
so
And so-
we want to acknowledge that as an addition
Part of our
to this
budget.
year's revenue,
Exactly.
which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, a little bonus. So that puts our revenue number at 1,185,000, if that makes sense. So we've got the actual, year-long collection numbers
Mhm.
plus the little surplus. So that's our revenue number. And then that puts us at our net financial impact right here. Let me zoom in a bit. Net financial impact is 55,000. Now this is before we have a couple spending decisions to make. So, but that's what everything else is allocated at this point. Everything we've discussed has been allocated. There is one thing I'm waiting on, which is the final numbers for the safety stations program, because they are raising their wage, but I don't have the exact number that is yet. So, But-
And we took into account all of the adjustments to salaries and wages.
Yeah,
So
that was-
that's
that-
all been accounted.
that was the first thing I did in July was add
Very
those
good.
in to make sure, we don't get ourselves, needing to add those in at the end and have no money. So I'll go over a couple things that I resolved from last time. So the websites, me and Sydney talked extensively about this. Pretty much we could not figure out who we can get an estimate from to add a number into here. So what we said was we're going to work on a scope of work, and then we'll have to price out that scope of work, and then we'll need to find like one-time funds to pay for it once we know what the project's going to be. So yeah, so that's the website.
I have a contact that you know her too. You should talk with Lauren Bianchi-Clement
Okay.
because
She did the website.
I was on their review committee and they did a whole RFP process.
Okay.
And I think what they were looking for is way more extensive than
Yeah.
what we'd be needing.
Well, Sydney knows her well, and I'm sure they can work together to figure that out. The next thing, I'm going to talk to you guys. There's actually two decisions. We just have to talk through a little bit the community center equipment upgrades. It should be a simple discussion, but so we'll get back to that in a second. And it's a zero financial impact because I'm proposing to use the equipment fund balance for it, so it shouldn't go on our yearly costs. So this 13,000 is our cost for is the revised cost for weekly cleaning or daily cleaning at the community center, and so it had been 6,000. And yeah, we talked to them because he said it was very low, and
Yeah,
so
it's very
it was correct. You were right, it was very low. So we also have another option here, which is deep cleaning options, and those cost $1,200, and that's like super extensive cleaning. And we just need to see we'll have to allocate some other funds first, but then we can see how much we want to deep clean. I'm thinking once a quarter is enough to do a deep clean
Mhm.
if we're cleaning every day already. So that'd be a $3,600 cost. We determined landscaping. We never were able to get a actual quote, but this is what we've had paid for the actual work before. So we'll work on this. And then we have pest control services. So we're going to start doing that once a month because we've been having ant and roach issues at the community center. So staying on top of it, $1,000. So it's $200 per instance. This is for the library research project. I was saying I don't know what number to put in yet, but I think it should be net zero because we could fund it as a one-time report, like we were funding our other studies, like our planning and parking studies. We're using one-time funds for those. So I just also couldn't get a good number for this, but I don't know if we can talk about this Like maybe we can just put a ballpark number in and move forward with an RFP and see what an actual cost will be later, like we did with the parking study.
What was, do you remember, like, what was the self-governance options study cost?
60,000.
16 or 60?
60.
60, okay.
Yeah, but that was super extensive.
Yeah.
So maybe 20 could be right or something, less than 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea to not put a number, just fund it out of fund balance once we've got RFP and we're ready to move forward with it.
Yeah.
So,
And then, yeah, and then you have the highlight here of like, we're waiting on the final numbers from UCPD to revise them. They're just having issues right now.
so hold on that. So that, I mean, are we expecting that number's gonna go to 0?
Which one? The safety stations or the?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's already at 0. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
This is 0.
Yeah, so and that's already at 0.
And this 95,000 is my guess at the higher cost. So they told me it's going to be like 17 something would be the wage. So I just did a calculation based on 17 something, but I don't know because they're giving the wage increase to CSOs. So I just don't know what that is yet.
And that's the only adjustment you made to the current year contract for this number? That
Yeah, we're
increased
still
the
trying to
wages?
work out the contract, but yeah, that's going to be the only
Yeah.
change is the costs because it's already the price for 3. This night, like whatever we had was already 3/10 all the year and everything. So
And so we came in under budget on the contract because we only had 2 tests? Or-
Yeah. Yeah, for this last fiscal year, yeah. So we put a bunch into fund balance.
But
We have
short.
actually, how much? 37,000 in fund balance for safety stations right now. So this 95,000, whatever it is, we'll fund 37,000 from the fund balance and then 60,000 or whatever from the UCSB contribution. The fund balance is UCSB contribution anyways. All right, so those are like,
Good question.
Yeah.
The janitor service, that's a increase in service. I know there's the deep clean, but
yeah,
is the other cost, that's an increase over what we have now, just the regular cleaning?
pretty much. I mean, we did start doing cleaning there, but it's not as much as this, not 5 times a week, but yeah, 5 times a week. And
Got it. Yeah, sounds good.
So it sounds like it should be very adequate because
Yeah.
even though the numbers look low, the property looked good.
everyone loves it.
Yeah.
That's their main review is it's clean, which is great. Great
Which
news.
is great, definitely.
But I mean, Maya told,
The more use it gets though, the more
Yeah.
messy
Yeah,
things
yeah,
get.
yeah.
Maya told me today that like the reservation request this week ramped up so extremely high for fall already. Like people are already trying to get space.
Oh,
So
yeah, it's a great.
I think the longer we stay open, yeah, more people will know and keep getting reservations. So it's good to get ready. They're going to start this janitorial service on September 1st, doing 5 days a week. So, all right. So that's all the main things. So the main decision point, and I have a recommendation for it, but I want to talk to you guys about it. And I talked to our staff all about it just before this too at our staff meeting, is what we're going to do with our final position to fund this year. So not in the budget, what's totally not in is the assistant general manager position. Obviously that's not in the budget anymore, nor is an executive assistant, analyst, management analyst kind of role. So that wasn't in the budget yet. So if we want that, we have to put it in. We've talked about wanting that a lot. There's also the other idea for the family outreach coordinator. We can't fund both, so we have to pick one. They're both around, one's 47,000 and one is 36,000 here, but I swear this was
The
42,000.
47 sounds low to me.
It's for part-time,
How part-time?
20 hours a week.
Mm.
That's what Shirley is doing. So that would be maintaining essentially what we've got now
Except
versus.
she's got a very high skill level, so she's a lot more than that much
Exactly.
money.
That's true. And I mean,
Yeah.
no, she's getting paid 65, not 31. So
Yeah,
I mean, Shirley's also doing like, it was an emergency support kind of role. And hopefully this other role will be like, they'll take the torch from her. Like she'll have set up so many things in a good.
mhm. Yeah. She got a lot of systems set up
Yeah,
for someone else
yeah.
to use.
Yeah, she's done a really good job at setting up systems.
Yeah,
That's
she is very
yeah.
good at that.
so pretty
Is
much.
she gone now?
No, she's still helping. Our retirement plan getting set up is one of the hardest things I've been watching her do. Like it's bounced back and forth between group, so she's still getting a couple projects.
And are we gonna have a party for her when she leaves?
We should, yeah, we should do something
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, she really did a number for us, didn't
It's a
she?
huge accomplishment to get that up and running.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, my recommendation would be like, we should keep what we have going and look at the family outreach role in another way in the future. Or we were talking about like, just, what we had talked about this before, but we can just have interns who are bilingual and at least start doing some of the little work and then build up to seeing if we need a staff position. We just know for sure we need the executive position.
Oh, yeah.
And the
there's no
family
question in my
outreach
mind.
is
You gotta have.
is
that.
good, but it is not an essential role, I guess. So
Yeah, no, I think that's administratively essential.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
without it, look, we started really
well,
going
we
downhill.
slided a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
can't lose that momentum,
So-
I don't think. I think
What
we-
would the bilingual interns program look like? That would be them working under Maya.
And Sydney,
And
yeah,
Sydney,
depending. I mean, we were just starting to work out how it would work, but they have like 20,000 or 25,000 between them for intern like wages. So we even like just today, I was telling them this situation, and they were like, "Okay, we can look at restructuring and just having different interns doing different things even." So we can figure it out. I think like they were really sad to see this not being as possible, but because it was their idea, like it was the staff came up with this proposal, but they did recognize like we do need all this stuff done because their jobs become also harder. They're like, we don't want to start using Fin ourselves and maintaining contracts, like so it's
Yeah.
or then I can't give them enough attention, and because I'm doing administrative stuff, and they were happy that I could they're like, oh yeah, we've noticed we can work with you more since Shirley has been on. So they did get it that this is more critical right now. So yeah, if we fund this though, we'd still have 10,000 or 9,000 to
Well, but you
allocate.
have your website update, your deep clean, so we're not.
Deep cleans in the budget though, right?
No,
Not the
no.
deep clean. The deep clean's another 3,600 that I can add in, or 4,800. So that's most of it, of the 9,000 left. And yeah, that pretty much.
But you left the website blank, right?
I know I put the website, like just the current website's cost, and we said
2,000.
we could do this when we get an RFP and a quote, we would use one-time funds for it instead of ongoing funds.
Yeah, I would lean towards putting in the deep cleaning into the budget. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a thing that we'll expect will be an ongoing cost. The website's a one-time thing, and once there's RFP, we can fund it out of fund balance.
So I'll do the calculation for the deep clean, like the exact. I'll just do it right now. Let's see, 13 plus 4,800 is 18. We'll just call it 18,500. So now that's like our full service cleaning system. So it's like cleaning plus landscaping plus pest control. So that's the full suite.
Did you add 3,600? Because that's not quarterly.
I added 4,800.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Wait a
I know, I got mixed up. Yeah, no, but this is 4,800 plus the 13,000. Okay, and so the other thing to do, and where is my other tab on here? So the last thing we want to get your input on is community center. Wait, why isn't it sharing the right screen? Give me a second. Is community center equipment, and we have a fund balance specifically for equipment, and so we can use that. But here are some ideas that Maya has. So lights, ring cameras, shelving. A lot of these are smaller things. It's like,
first of all, what's your bottom line?
there's one though, it's 32,000 because
Mm.
there's this boom gate that would be really good to have at the building. Oops, why is
This is
not?
the parking lot, right?
Yeah, to help
Yeah.
access to the parking lot. So, oops, why can't I get this right?
We've had any further discussions with our VRPD about that?
About the parking lot?
Yeah.
We haven't had a direct conversation about it. Yeah, not any additional ones. So Kimberly was on vacation for most of July. And
But
so was
I'm
I,
having
so-
coffee with her tomorrow.
Yeah, if you could bring it up, that could be
Yeah,
good.
so I'll take
Yeah.
anything you would like me to bring up.
Yeah, but rugs, couches, outdoor furniture. These are the bigger ticket items, and it adds up to 32,000. The boom gate is the real cost. Everything else, and then
Yes.
let me
Phenomenal.
let me.
And this doesn't really buy us any sound attenuation other than what you get from a rug.
I'm waiting on I'm waiting on a specific quote for that. I haven't received it. We have someone who's been checking out the building and making a plan, and so we're waiting on a specific.
And
quote.
what is it they're proposing to do?
Essentially, it's panels, and in a lot of the corners of the room. Like I've learned a lot about acoustics from him now,
No
but
doubt you
yeah,
have.
there's a lot of like we have too many right angles in the building.
Ah.
Like there's just like hundreds of right angles from all the corners of the roof. So
it bounces everything.
it would be a lot of panels, a couple drapes,
Uh-huh.
but mainly panels installed in the corners of the room, and then a drape that could be used, for example, like you could take it in and out. Like you don't have to have the drape out all the time. You
Uh-huh.
could,
Depends on
collapse it and
your
stuff.
configuration.
So that's the idea at this point that we're hearing is what's possible. We were told it's a pretty hard room to work with.
Well, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
And we're hoping to hear, we told them like after we do acoustics, we also want to eventually hear about lighting and other sound, because that's been a long standing point of like, we do want to stage and sound and audio visual. And so that's not there yet. There's also this is a separate 3,000 item in the equipment, which is a renovation to our front office here to make it more of a community like engagement hub. Oh yeah, community hub. And so we're gonna keep these big desks, but we're gonna change out everything else and make it look nice. And we're waiting to get
Well,
paint.
I'm all down for that, Jonathan.
I know you are.
I am totally down for that.
I know. And Maya's
This is
itching.
our public face.
Maya's
here.
itching to get this
Yeah.
done. So I told her once it's approved, we
very much
we
into
can
that.
take action. So
And so this is all being proposed to come out of the community or the equipment, structures and equipment fund balance.
yeah,
Which, if I'm looking at this right now, has $73,000 in it.
yeah.
Um,
And I mean, we can always refill it since we have 800. I mean, it would automatically
automatically
refill.
refills.
Yeah, it automatically refills.
yeah, I mean, I'm supportive of it. I think that we should fund it fully.
Cool.
I do too.
One quick question I have is for the boom gate, I'm curious, if we were to get to a point where IVRP is allowing for the full use of the parking lot for community center activities, and if we were to put up like signs in the parking lot that made it clear parking for community center activities only, do we think that we would need the gate?
Potentially. I mean, the gate does a lot because right now you have to always, manually open the lock and then swing the fence open and get in. So like the current gate is also not super functional, and it would help anyone access it more readily. Like there's the van that's supposed to do the micro transit project. That's actually where this originally like became a big idea, is the micro transit from MTD could access more easily. But
my question is more just, does it need to be gated at all? Like if we were to have like signs up that made it very clear that the parking was only for the community center, do we need a gate to keep people out?
I mean, it depends on how we want it to be. Like if it is never open, people will break that rule and park there all the time, and we won't be enforcing it at night because it's hard to do that. So there will be people parking in there. In our previous negotiations with IVRPD, their preference was to have it locked when there aren't events. That preference might change, but the last thing they told us in 2019 was you have to be able to close the parking lot to not have people park overnight.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for sure.
Got it.
Then you have an enforcement issue and you have to have people towed, and then you have a lot of ill will because of that.
True.
And given IVRPD's historic stance, I mean, we want to kind of go into this negotiation gently and try and accommodate where they're coming from. I think.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if having that line item there for the boom gate is a gesture of goodwill for us really wanting to get this agreement hammered out, then I think that that's a good in and of itself, above and beyond anything, because really what we just need to do is figure out how to let our community center users park there. That's the big issue.
Yeah. it will make things super easy for like the library van too, for example, because I mean, unless we kept it open always, versus like the current gate is just, we can't, the current gate is so bad. Like people end up parking on the sidewalk, have to get out, unlock it, drive their car in, get out, lock the gate again, and it just becomes.
It's dangerous around that part of the street too,
Yeah,
with the
oh,
street
yeah.
curving and with
Yeah.
Bike lane.
with Trigo abutting up to it. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen some near misses just with cyclists there.
Yeah.
It's, I think that it's necessary.
And you made the comment that the structure and equipment fund balance was self-replenishing?
It's
What does that
I mean,
mean?
it's in a way
How does that work?
It's our policy. Our policy requires us to fund these, and they're funded out of the undesignated fund balance through a waterfall, like one after
Okay,
another. And
gotcha. So eventually it'll dry
it
out.
will dry out, but we
Yeah.
are required to fund, like we have
Yeah, but
875,000 that's not in the committed fund balances. That's part of our fund balance. So this 875, we will eventually one day spend it. But for now, if we spend 50 out of the 73, it will pay itself back.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha,
It's our funds paying each other.
yeah.
And my thinking is if the total amount that we're saying we need at any time for equipment is $73,000 and we're saying we're gonna spend about 40% of that right now, I think that that's a very reasonable expenditure.
Yeah,
I do
and
too.
that's what for the year. And I don't know if we'll need, I mean, I'll say like some things will come up, like there'll be, but those can also come out of the capital outlay, which is a whole other thing. Like if
Well,
we're like, yeah, all bigger
the
items.
acoustic stuff,
Yeah,
do we have any sense of what that might be? Because I also am committed to that.
I'm not sure. I really don't have a number, but it's
Uh-huh.
not gonna be a huge amount. I mean, it's gonna be in like 5 to 10,000 max, but I don't know. There's labor costs too, because we need installation and everything, but I even think I'm quoting you high. I don't know. I'm just
Alright,
making.
well,
up
I
a
just
number.
wanted
It's
to-
gonna be a
That's a-
number.
And sense, yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
it should be.
Yeah.
It's important.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
the single biggest problem in the building right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
So,
We need to fix it.
but besides that, but that's a net zero allocation. So I have to put in, yeah. So we have 50 plus. So we have like around 4,000 to plug into places. I mean, you guys have said, or the board, I think, said like advertising is a good place to plug in additional funds because we want to get more of the word out. So I could do that. I could top off the advertising line item. We could add more into community center events.
Can we keep a little contingency?
We could keep a contingency as well. Yeah, that makes sense too. We don't have to spend it, and
Well, we know there's gonna be things
Things
that
that-
come up
that's
this
true.
year, right?
things are coming up. Yeah, we can just
well,
do
it'll
that.
always happen.
We don't.
I'd be certainly comfortable doing that.
Okay. What do you guys think? Not spending the last 4.
And now about the executive assistant,
Mhm.
we're into the year already, so those funds are being partly expended on Shirley's time right now.
Yeah.
But we need to make the changeover pretty quick because she's a lot more expensive.
Mhm.
And then the 31 an hour, how did you come up with that?
The same as our program manager starting rate.
Okay.
So it is a not controversial, it's a sticky decision to make because we want to try to keep our salaries now almost the same, especially at like different levels of the organization. So I didn't want to arbitrarily pick a new number. I'm going to see if to make sure this matches other roles, and we don't want to not get any applicants because 31 is the wrong number. But what I got the advice from our legal team was that it could cause problems if you like arbitrarily pick a number now, and people will start saying like, well, this person is doing this and I'm doing this. Why can't I get paid 35? Because why is the executive assistant getting 35 instead of 31.74? So that's how I picked it. It's just the starting range for the program manager, but
And you haven't really bounced it off what the going rate is for positions like that?
not yet. Yeah, I just got that advice on Monday.
Yeah,
But
well, that's probably important.
yeah, but at least to get it in the budget, I have to get
Yeah.
something in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, but and for the pricing of that, I was thinking of looking strictly local versus external because it is
That makes sense.
more of a local pool kind
And
of
it's
thing.
also like a generic job description.
Exactly, anyone
Yeah.
can have this role.
Any organization. can
Yeah.
have this role, for
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'll see what Santa Barbara is charging for that.
Okay.
We're pretty much competing
Okay.
locally more for this. So
And if it's not competitive, what will we do?
I will have to come to the board and ask for a budget adjustment. And it's good we're leaving this contingency, or I can just hire it a little later
Oh,
or something. So, or we can make the decision to just do it. I mean, there'll be
well, we're
others.
leaving some
there's
money
a-
in contingency, so we
Yeah.
have a little bit of wiggle room.
Sounds like there's a natural surplus already because we are in August.
There
We're
is.
paying Shirley.
We are paying Shirley.
Or paying for
No,
it.
she's not working the full 20 though.
Okay.
She is doing like,
Well, we can afford it for 10.
yeah. But we're also like paying this person health insurance and retirement, which we're not paying
Yeah, so
Shirley.
we
So
have a little bit of.
we'll have other, I think the savings will like equal.
I
I'll do
wonder
the
if
math.
you could have any sense of that before the board meeting?
I will work on it. I'll work
I
on
mean,
it more.
just to ballpark sense.
I will.
Because we'd hate to, be like really
Really off.
whistling in the dark here.
Yeah. I'll keep working on it, and I'll get like the numbers on like the health insurance, which I know the monthly cost is easy to.
Yeah,
Because I will put the full annual cost into the budget, but I will also show the numbers, like what the actuals will probably be. Like, oh, this position starting in October. Well,
yeah.
that's only that. I mean, insurance is $700 a month, so you're already saving $2,100 not having it for 3 months. So, yeah. Same with retirement. It's 10% of the salary, so it's like another 4,000 that's being saved there. So, yeah. Not 4,000, sorry, a third of 4,000, or 1,000, just 1,000. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think you've done a great job here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The budget
And
keeps
I
getting
think
bigger.
Maya has a lovely, frugal, but expansive eye for looking at what we can do to create these spaces and
Mhm.
make them so nice.
I agree.
And I appreciate all the research she's done and how she's really nailed down the costs and, tried to do it in a very economical way.
Yeah.
And,
No,
I feel like, whatever she wants, let's give it to her.
I'll mention that to her because I do
Yeah.
know, like, she does do a lot of effort to pick good prices. and
Yeah,
great
I mean,
options.
and some people are really good shoppers.
Yeah.
And it's not a skill I have.
Me neither.
It's like, I
Yeah.
don't like doing that at all. But when I see it, I totally appreciate it
Yeah.
because it is a lot of effort and you have to be able to read and understand things online about what the product
Not get
is.
scammed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see and her track record with us so far has been extremely good too.
Yeah.
So she is
I'll let her
really
know.
doing a great service for us there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
It does feel like every time I go in there, I was in there this morning, and every time I go in there, there's something a little bit different, a little bit newer. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I think she's just doing
those
a
touches are
fantastic
important.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
they
getting a really
certainly
nice
are.
entrance iPad soon, like to check in, like when you come, like, get your email, and then we'll keep in touch with you forever.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll stand for it and everything.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Well,
are we voting?
you don't have to vote, but you could vote to recommend this budget as amended to the full board. Or
Does somebody want to make that motion? And are we all clear about what this budget is that we want to recommend?
Sure, I'll make that motion to recommend the adoption of the budget to the board.
and I will second the motion.
Fantastic. We've had a motion, we've had a second. We got nobody to make any comments but ourselves. Are we done making comments?
oh, can I mention one last thing? Sorry.
Okay, Jonathan.
All right. Well, I
what?
have to mention it. I just forgot to. There is one other cost that may or may not. We don't know what it is yet, but my performance review is also coming up. So we didn't factor in anything about me into the budget. So just FYI.
No, thank you for
Yeah.
calling that to our attention because that's obviously important.
Mhm. Well, I'll just take a sec to highlight some of the things that are in this budget so that because we've gone through so much of it that I just want to look through the program spending and mention that in this includes full funding for the parking study. It includes the new executive assistant position for our staff. It includes, I'm scrolling up now, it includes the expanded safety stations. It includes these renovations to the community center, these equipments, as well as our community center programming. It includes the expansion of the compost collective that we heard about first from Carly a couple of months ago. It includes our rental housing mediation program. It includes, I mentioned, safety stations and the beautification program, which is now in-house. Like when we started the budget process, that was right around the time that we learned about beautification and the changes that were going to have to happen to that.
Right.
They all got pulled together like really quickly and with a lot of care so that we can continue the program and make it happen. And I'm proud of this budget. This feels really good. We've got fully funded reserves, and we're very blessed that our revenue source continues to grow so that we can afford these things. But I'm
we're also
excited with where we're at.
Achieving a more competitive rate for interns.
Right. We have higher paid interns in this budget.
Raised wages for our staff and for our interns. And that's a big deal.
Yeah. And yeah, fully funded 5 staff positions, 5 full-time and 1 part-time. So
Thank you for that summary.
all right. We can vote.
All right, I'll call the question. Roll call vote here. I guess you did that, Jonathan.
All right. Director Toplitt,
Yes.
Brent,
Yes.
Bertrand.
Yes.
There you go.
All right. So,
Woohoo.
yeah,
Good job.
I know. This has been fun.
This is a
working on
long
the
one.
budget.
This is
Yeah.
a long budget.
Yeah, no, well, it's been a good long process. I feel like we've really had the time to, go deep on stuff and, really talk about it. So
Yeah.
it's been a good process, I think. And so all that remains is to set our next meeting.
Yeah, and I don't know when we'd want to do that yet. So just to tell you guys, like the next job of the finance committee, which we didn't do last year, but we will do this year, is to help engage with our auditors on the audit. So I don't have a schedule for them yet, but it'll usually be in late September or early October is when they should be ready for us, unless other people have taken our slots and we have to go later in the year. But that's one of the duties of this committee that just have never been executed yet. So usually it's just been me and Spencer. We'll talk with them.
I feel like every year that you told me they're going to call me.
They never have. Oh, they always want to talk to you, but I guess they never do. But they're
I don't know,
supposed to
unless I'm
talk.
just not answering their phone
Yeah,
calls. But
they want to talk to like board members to get a sense of things. So we'll do it through the
Yeah,
finance
We're
committee.
happy to do
And
that. Sure.
yeah,
Okay, so we'll keep that vague for now.
Yeah.
And we'll get together electronically to decide what our next meeting will be.
yeah, sounds
And
good.
so I'll just go ahead and unilaterally adjourn this meeting.
Sounds good.
all right.
We're done.
We're done.
Thank you.
See
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Send this.